New York schools getting the green light to return to the classroom this fall. Once the epicenter of the pandemic, the governor is now giving the go-ahead to reopen, highlighting the state's progress in reducing the infection rate. Joining me now to react is our educator panel, Center for Education Reform's Jeannie Allen, Catholic Vote's senior political advisor and former teacher, Tim Hulskamp, and the superintendent for Partnership Schools, which is a network of several Catholic schools in New York City, Kathleen Porter-McGee. Good morning to you all. This is big news. Governor Cuomo announcing a reopening. And let's start with you, Jeannie. What's your reaction to his decision?
Well, you know, Griff, on the surface, it's really good news that he's giving the green light, because we know across the country it is kind of fits and starts all the time. But there's so many caveats. If the infection rate goes above 5% in a certain region, if certain things happen, who knows, maybe like Montgomery County, Maryland, a health officer will wake up one day and say, "Oh, we're pulling you back," and closing private schools too. So the problem is we can't keep making policy based on entire cities and regions without parents making that determination where their kids should go.
Yeah, Kathleen, let me send it to you. Not only do you have that problem of will this change? And Governor Cuomo said that he will monitor as he goes along. But what about the teachers not wanting to be in the classrooms as well?
Yeah, the teachers are having a really tough time. They're scared. They're worried. The rhetoric across the country has been incredibly heated. I think the challenge, though, is there is a difference between teachers' fears and worries and teacher union demands. And I think what's concerning about the rhetoric right now is that teacher union demands are not just along health and safety guidelines. We see teachers unions around the country asking for a moratorium on charter schools, asking for a moratorium on vouchers and tax cuts. Those things have nothing to do with public health. And I really think it's important that we have to, especially in this moment, separate politics from public health.
Tim, is politics the problem here?
Well, I think it's part of the problem, but I think it's probably not a coincidence that Cardinal Dolan and the main competition to the New York public schools have announced they're going to open, and they're going to do it safely and securely. And so we finally had some response from the political folks meeting the demands of parents. They need to send their kids back to school. The kids need to go back to school, and their main competition of Catholic schools are already doing that. So that's really a good sign, but it's indication actually that our public schools need more competition and not less.
Yeah, Jeannie, let me ask you, as Tim pointed out, and Cardinal Dolan was on Fox and Friends this week talking about the need to reopen. Let me show you some of the demands for reopening classrooms. Police-free schools, canceling rents and mortgages, moratorium on new charter or voucher programs, reopening funded by taxing billionaires and Wall Street. This is from the demandsafeschools.org website. Is it going to work?
You know, if ever there was a cry for personalized learning for every child, it was now. You know, as Kathleen pointed out, we have been seeing unions. By the way, this isn't new. This has been happening for years, but they are stepping up their demands. They are threatening strikes. And so our poor parents and kids out there and the rank and file teachers don't know what's going to happen. They're using this as leverage. They're using this not even as leverage. They're using it as extortion to try to get policymakers to do things that they have always wanted them to do. And you know what? They're behind the times here. It is time for everybody to come together and recognize that our kids need to go to school in whatever way, shape, or form that their parents and the people closest to them think is effective. Yep. We can turn on time in lots of different ways. We shouldn't stop, and we shouldn't rely on just cities and states and countries to make that decision.
You put your finger on it there, Jeannie. Kathleen, let me ask you, you're a superintendent. As a parent of two teenagers, I can't overstate the anxiety about what's going on. What are you saying to parents?
So in New York City and Cleveland, where I run urban Catholic schools, we've offered parents two options, a 5-day-a-week in-person option and also a remote learning option for parents who either cannot or are not ready to send their children back. Because we understand parents need to have options. And so I agree with Jeannie completely. We need to bring parents into the conversation as well. And I think that the schools that have been best able to nimbly respond to the needs of their communities and of their parents have been the smaller schools, the private, Catholic, and charter schools around the country, who in the spring, when the nationwide shutdown hit, were able to quickly adapt to the new world. They were able to serve student and community needs, and it's time to do that again.
In the remaining time, Tim, let me give you the last word. Are you confident we're going to get where we need to go?
Well, we're going to have to at the end of the day. Hopefully, I pray that the parents will be in control and making those decisions. But I think it's abundantly clear that our private Catholic schools are responding to the demands and needs of our parents, and our teacher unions are looking out for themselves. And so hopefully we'll continue to move forward, get these schools open, let the parents be able to get back to work, and then safely and securely educate them for the future.
Let's hope. Tim, Kathleen, Jeannie, thanks very much. Great panel, and we will certainly be following it.